Welcome back, legends. I hope you're all amazing. On today's video, we have the MEDUSA from Lichtlaerm Audio in Germany. You've seen some of their other pedals on the channel before. Dan from Lichtlaerm Audio was kind enough to send me one of these before release. Basically, it's the ultimate HM-2 on steroids, or human growth hormone, or trend, whatever you want to think about it. It uses the classic 4-knob HM-2 as a starting point, and you've got a gain, level, low, and grind control that mirror that, but it just takes it somewhere else, where you've got an extra mid-range control with the ability to set the amount of mids you want and the mid-range frequency. You've got a presence control in there to kind of fine-tune the high-end response. You've got the ability to use it as a straight-up HM2 style circuit on the classic mode. There's a modern mode which changes up the voicing in there. You've got this blend control, so you can blend in some clean signal or use the effects loop to add, say, another pedal in parallel to this. There's also a polarity switch over here, and there is the cut circuit that you've seen on other pedals that they make, like the Gehana. So I'm going to let you hear this in an absolutely filthy mix, and then I'm just going to go through, start out with the classic tones that you can expect to get out of this, and we'll hear some kind of smoother fuzz style sounds, some stoner doom style sounds out of it. This does so much. It is so much fun. But first, dirt. MEDUSA demonstrates the difference between authenticity and tradition, because while you can get authentic HM2 tones from this, it breaks with the classic kind of 4-knob tradition that a lot of HM2 derivatives are based on, and adds some really usable features. So you've got a gain control that has at least double the amount of gain as a usual HM2, and a level control on here. Then you've got your low and your grind controls. They are going to correspond to the other two knobs you would find on an HM2, but you can see on here you've got a cut control, which is basically just going to be your kind of like pre-EQ, you know, taking out a little low end, tightening things up. There's a gate based on their gate pedal, and then you've got a clean blend over here. So if you wanted to run this in parallel with another drive or any other effect, you can do that. Then there is a presence control and a mid-range control and a mid-frequency control on here. So you've got semi-parametric mids in there, which is very cool in my opinion. We'll hear the power of that. But first, let's do the grind thing, right? So I'm going to start off with a crunchy tone from my Synergy 800 module, PRS SC245 in drop C. get that classic HM-2 grind sound, you need that kind of crunchy starting point, and then just turn the grind control and the low control up. You could hear in there that they immediately started to get harsh, but then they hit this like extreme saturation point where it stops getting harsher and it just starts to bring in the chainsaw, which we love. The mid-range control on there is magic with this circuit. This is where it really kind of goes beyond the traditional thing an HM2 can do. The fact that you've got the frequency sweep available in there means that you can kind of fine tune it for the type of amp you're using in there. I didn't even show it to you with any mids cut, but maybe I'll do that in a second. There is another switch over here, which kind of selects between a classic sound and then a modern sound in here. The modern version, which we'll hear, kind of works really nicely for taking those HM2 fuzz style tones that I personally really like, you know, the kind of 80s Gilmour thing. I think they're really, really effective. We'll hear it with this dirty sound first, and I will play with that mid-range control. You did the presence control in there was great to just kind of shelve out some of that extreme fizz in there and sculpt it. And then the cut control, you know, it's not super extreme in there, but it's doing enough where if you have it all the way down or all the way up, there's going to be a particular sweet spot for your guitar. Again, you just kind of use your ears with this stuff. And the gate is really effective, as we heard in there, kind of around 11 o'clock seems to be the best setting on here. All right, see the difference between classic and modern? Then I'll play with that mid-range control. See there, by turning the grind and the presence down and really playing with the sweep of those two mid controls on there, you can take it from that 90s chainsaw sound to more of a like early 2000s fuzzed out stoner doom kind of thing. And what I love there is that the low end still stays really tight on there. Using this cut control can let you kind of fine tune that, but you know, doing those kind of percussive thracks still feel really, really good. It doesn't feel like your guitar's just totally washed out. So I didn't even talk about the clean blend before in there. I do have actually my entire drive board in the loop of this pedal at the moment. So let's hear a few different options blended in. I'm going to go a bit easier on the old gain and level over here. But what I'll do is start off with a Boss SD1 in the loop. I've got the level all the way up and the drive down. So I'll basically turn this down with the SD1 off, and then I'll bring it in. You've got a polarity switch on here as well, so you can kind of flip the phase on there. So yeah, let's see where we end up. That's really, really interesting. The SD1 is bringing something very different to the core sound of this pedal and blending them in parallel. You'll notice that kind of past about noon on here, the MEDUSA basically takes over with its tonality, and you got to have the level control pretty much cranked up to get this to work really well with my setup anyway. So I'm going to try another drive. This is a Crowther hotcake. I'm going to start with this blend all the way up, and then I'll bring a bit of hotcake in. Something that's voiced a lot darker blended in with this, which is a lot brighter. One last blend. Let's try it with an Anarchy Audio Workhorse, which is based on a Klone. This one's going to be pretty interesting, I think. This really does feel like the ultimate refinement of an HM-2 circuit to me. The additions of those extra EQ controls, the cut, the blend control, the effects loop on there really take it into the stratosphere. So what I want to do now is use this in my personal favorite application for an HM-2 circuit, which is like a smooth kind of fuzz. So I have this super clean Strat thing going on. Let's just have a listen to the neck pickup tone. doing clean Strat things. What I'm going to do is start with the gain really low. I'm actually going to have the low control and the grind all the way down. And I'm going to bring this in on the classic mode, play around with the cut control, play around with the level. Again, this has way more level and gain than an actual HM-2, so I kind of have to be careful there, but I'm going for that 80s Gilmour style thing. Let's turn it on and see where we end up. There's definitely some magic to be had in there, and you can kind of feel and see the love that has gone into this pedal. One thing that I love about Dan's designs is that rather than kind of just rehash whatever the flavor of the month is, he's taking classic sounds as a starting point, building in modern features, but then making it all really, really easy to use for guitar players. Like these knobs on here all have a little midpoint that you can feel. They're kind of notched. So if you want to get the low control to the center, you can notch it in there. You can do that with all of these controls on here. The little mid-range control in here that lets you adjust the frequency sweep is brilliant with this type of circuit. Again, you can either think of it as something that kind of fine tunes it to your guitar or your amp, or it basically just kind of brings it in line with whatever you're doing. So it's not as hit and miss as just a kind of 4-knob HM-2 style thing. And the modern mode on there, as we heard with the Strat, it's got its own thing going on. This pedal to me is to an HM-2 what a Klone is to a tube screamer. You know, if you like the tube screamer thing, but there's things that you kind of like don't love about it, then you can try it at something like a Klone, and a lot of people are like, wow, that doesn't have that annoying mid-hump thing that doesn't work with some amps, and you know, you can get it to do a proper clean boost, and they're renowned for just having that point of difference in there that's not just a rehashing of a tube screamer or an SD1. This feels similar. There's so many more features on there, it almost doesn't feel fair to compare it to a classic HM2, but you know, the fact that this is priced at under 200 euros, the fact that I think it looks really cool, and it's got the send and return on there, so you can kind of create some tones you would never be able to get out of other drive pedals in there, and just the thought and care that has gone into it. Much like the Gehenna and the other pedals that I've tried that Dan's built, it's hard to go wrong with this, and I think if you're somebody who's into that classic HM2 sound, put this on your list. This is right up the top in terms of being able to do that. It takes it well beyond what the original can do. But then if you're like me and you kind of like getting other sounds out of those type of circuits, then this is absolutely brilliant, and it is probably my favorite variation of that style of circuit that I've tried so far. So well done, Dan. Send him some love in the comment section below. If you want to learn more, I will put links in the video description. Again, thanks to Dan for sending this one out to me to do the demo video with. They didn't see this video before it goes out. That's the way my channel works. I do my thing. I make my stupid guitar phases and make some noises, and you all get to tell me what you think of all of it. Let me know what you thought of the MEDUSA. And if you want to support my channel directly, check the video description for a variety of ways to do that. I'm digging this thing with a lot of delay for that kind of silky lead sound. So I'll just play you out with another clip doing that. Have a great day. See you next time.